Hello everyone, Moses here, and it has been quite some time since I've done a gear review, and I am actually very fortunate to have a guitar like this with me today because it's absolutely fantastic. And the guitar I'm going to be reviewing is the Jackson MJ series. For those that don't know what the MJ series are, so Jackson has recently brought up their or they started to run up their Japanese line of guitars again. They haven't done that in a very long time. Their import series have been mostly Chinese and Indonesian, and for their like higher end import models, they would be typically from South Korea. But now they started to do guitars in Japan again, and honestly, this is really, really good. It comes really close to the American-made Jacksons, and if like those guitars are really expensive now compared to what they were a few years ago. So something like this is, in my opinion, just as good. I'll talk about all that stuff later in the video, but for now, I'm going to give you guys the specs, and I will also be demoing some lead tones and some rhythm tones that this guitar can definitely do, and I'll leave timestamps for that as well in the description. So without further ado, let's talk about the specs. So we have the classic Rhodes shape. This is honestly one of, if not my favorite, V shape guitars, because you know you have the King V, and then you have all these other Vs. The Arrow from ESP is also my favorite, but this is just classic, the Rhodes shape. Immediately, Randy Rhodes, once you see something like this, and it better be. The classic Jackson headstock, you know, this is very classy. I believe this is alder. And then we have the chrome hardware. We have a master volume, and then we have a master tone. Don't really need the master tone for me, in my opinion. You have a three-way toggle switch. You have a two-pneumatic bridge here, string through body construction. You have a Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge, and I believe this is a 59. So this is a very typical, very classic set of humbuckers that can really do it all. That can really, truly do it all. And it's fantastic. This guitar sounds really nice. This pickup combination just works really well. And in my opinion, I could pretty much live my whole life with these pickup sets. Like the bridge is very tight and hot, and it's very organic sounding, and it cleans up pretty well. And the neck pickup also, you know, screens for leads and cleans and all that stuff. So absolutely fantastic sound. Let's keep going with the specs. So Jackson is known for their compound radius necks. So I believe this is 12 to 16. So it's a little bit rounder up here, and then it tends to flatten out once you get to the higher frets. This is just makes, you know, more chord work up here easier, and then as you flatten out for your leads, it's definitely more comfortable. Not as flat as an Ibanez, obviously, but you know, if you're used to that classic USA Jackson neck, this is gonna feel just at home. If not, probably if you were to blindfold test this guitar with a USA one, you probably wouldn't tell the difference really. That's what I like, comparing it to the Kelly I used to own. Alright, so this guitar originally used to come with the Jackson tuners, but it's been upgraded with Gotos, and previously I didn't have any issues with the old Jackson tuners, but this is a massive upgrade, and definitely well worth it. I felt like, you know, for a guitar at this price range and where it's made, you know, I think locking tuners is definitely a must. I don't know, you guys tell me what you guys think about that. We have an ebony fretboard, 24 extra jumbo frets, not stainless steel, but they feel really nice. Neck through body, very cool. Very easy to reach the frets up in the higher register. This guitar is pretty much straightforward. I mean, if you're a plug-in and play type of dude and just wants to look badass with a V like this is the guitar to have. Oh, also, one thing I forgot to mention, this has luminless side dot inlays. So these glow in the dark. Once you light them up enough, you'll be able to see in the dark much easier Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about my overall impressions with the guitar. Earlier in the video, I did mention, how it really is a fantastic guitar, and yeah, it is. It's great. I love it, and honestly, everything's expensive right now. Guitars are pretty damn pricey now, and that's a topic for a different video I'll talk about, but yeah, the USA made Jacksons are almost like $4,000, and this comes really close. A couple years ago, actually, USA made Jacksons go for as much as this does brand new. So like I remember I bought my Kelly for like $1,800, and now the brand new they're almost $4,000. And then now the Japanese line of Jacksons are about the same as they were back then. The USA Jackson prices, right? So yeah, crazy times. But with that being said, like the quality of this guitar comes really close to the American series, and I'm a huge fan of everything that Japan makes guitar-wise, right? ESPs, Ibanez's, and now with Jacksons, it's really, really good, and it gives you a good taste of what you can expect. And maybe you don't have like the cash or like the funds for something crazy like the USA model now. This is your next best thing. And just going off a little bit of a tangent is that recently the USA made Jacksons, I feel like, I don't know if you noticed now, the ones that are watching, like USA standard, like there's the custom shop, and they also had made in USA Jacksons like Kelly's, King V's, that they didn't label them as custom shop, but they were still made there. That they would say made in USA in the headstock. And then for the custom shop models, you see custom shop right next to it. So now they completely, from what I've seen, it seems like they removed the made in USA stamp from their USA line of guitars and reserved it only for the custom shop. Kind of similar to what ESP did with their ESP logo. Before there was ESP standard, and then they relabeled it as E2, and then they reserved the ESP label for their high-end guitars, the original series. So I feel like that's the direction that Jackson did when they introduced these Japanese guitars and the new made in USA guitars like the soloists. And I'm typically not a big fan of that type of marketing move. I understand like they want to reserve that prestige stamp or whatever for like their super high end, make it very luxurious, and like, yeah, this is, I kind of never really agreed with that type of decision that companies make. But nonetheless, this is still a fantastic guitar. It doesn't make this feel like a Indonesian, or even though like you'll see like import models just say Jackson on the headstock, but clearly in the back you'll see made in Japan. So yeah, it's a fantastic guitar. I love it. The sound is great. This is definitely a next best thing to like a USA Jackson. I've said that a couple times throughout the video, but yeah, I highly recommend something like this because it's really, really good, and I'm excited what else comes from the Made in Japan series of Jacksons. Hopefully they make more 7 strings because that's more of my, thing. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought of the guitar, and what do you guys think about like the future of Jackson with these Made in Japan instruments and their new Made in USA instruments that still don't say Made in USA, but they reserve the Made in USA stamp for their custom shop models. So yeah, a lot to talk about, but none of that devalues, or I'm not talking shit about the Made in Japan at all, because this is really, really good. Other than that, let me know what you guys think, and take it easy. I'll see you on the next video.